In 2012, this man launched a billion-dollar plan to conquer the world of dance music. And his goal? Buy the EDM industry piece by piece and turn it into a global corporate money-making machine. He bought everything from festivals to even ticketing companies. But there was just one problem. He knew nothing about EDM. And just 4 years later, his company went bankrupt. And the result was that the EDM industry almost collapsed. So how did a billion-dollar EDM empire go bankrupt in less than 4 years? This is the story of SFX Entertainment. But in order to understand this, we need to understand the man behind it all, Robert SF Sillerman. Born in 1948 in the Bronx, Robert began life as the son of Michael Sillerman, who founded one of the most successful radio networks at that time. It was called the Keystone Radio Network. But when Robert was just a teenager, his father's once promising radio empire went bankrupt. And this shaped Robert's future, as it pulled him toward the same industry that his father had once failed in. Sillerman started his career working with local small radio networks, but realized the problem. He couldn't scale or compete with these big dog radio networks. So that's when he pioneered the Rollup business model. You see, he would buy these small companies in the entertainment world and merge them with these larger entities. Then he would sell these combined companies for a larger price. Bob would use this exact formula and build and sell media empires for the next 3 decades. And he eventually ended up selling both his media empires for $2.1 billion in 1998 and $4.4 billion in 2000. And by the early 2010s, Sillerman was hunting for his next big thing. He was looking for a rapid growing industry where his formula and scaling could be applied there. At the time, festivals like Tomorrowland and Ultra Music Festival were selling out, and superstar DJs like David Guetta, Tiesto, and Calvin Harris were filling up stadiums. EDM was exploding from the underground clubs into the mainstream culture, and Sillerman saw this. And even though he knew nothing about EDM, to him it was the perfect opportunity. He saw the same kind of gap he capitalized on in the radio industry decades earlier. There was no corporate infrastructure, and there was no big companies running the show, just hundreds of independent promoters, DJs, and festivals. To him, that meant one thing: a gold mine waiting to be rolled up and to be turned into one huge corporation. So in 2012, Sillerman wanted to do something called vertical integration, where he would use the same aggressive business tactics that worked for radio to take over EDM. He announced that he would spend over $1 billion to bring the entire EDM industry together under one roof. He wanted to own the entire pipeline, from the music platform where DJs bought and sold these tracks, to the companies that sold the tickets, and even where the festivals were played. And he didn't care that he was out of touch with the genre, because he could just hire people. He also stated, "I know nothing about EDM. I meet the people who places were buying, and I haven't a clue what they're doing." To make it happen, he revived the name SFX Entertainment and went on the most aggressive buying sprees in music history. In March 2013, he purchased his first company, the center of digital dance music, Beatport. Bought for almost $60 million, it would help him gain direct access to DJ consumption data and influence over what tracks rose to popularity. He also wanted to make Beatport a competitor to Spotify. But what he didn't realize was that Beatport was ran on trust. Labels uploaded their music there because they believed in the platform. They expected to be paid just like any other platform. But when SFX started missing royalty payments, everything changed. Independent labels, which made up the bulk of Beatport's catalog, stopped getting paid on time. Some pulled their music and others just stopped promoting it altogether. And instead of fixing the damage, SFX froze payouts entirely during its bankruptcy process. So the very platform Sillerman thought would give him control ended up exposing how little control he actually had. And Beatport lost $5.5 million in 2015. But this was just the beginning, because in June 2013, SFX dropped roughly $97 million on a 75% stake in ID&T, which is the company behind Tomorrowland. This gave them the rights to expand the brand beyond Belgium and give them a chance to launch in the US. So they launched Tomorrowworld, that took place in Georgia. And the first Tomorrowworld kicked off in late September 2013 with over 140,000 fans across 8 stages. And despite being a transplant of European rave culture, the event was a success for 2 years. But by 2015, everything started falling apart. It started with heavy rainfall that turned the festival ground into mud, and this led to transportation issues. And many people encountered a 20-mile traffic jam, forcing them to walk over 5 miles on foot to reach the festival. The shuttle buses were also severely limited, leaving thousands without a reliable way to return home. Worst of all, some camped on the roadsides, with no water or food. And by Sunday, the festival offered refunds. But the thing that SFX was doing wrong was that they were buying things too fast. Between 2012 and 2014, they acquired over 20 companies, including ID&T, Beatport, Electric Zoo, Life in Color, and Mysteryland. You see, Sillerman believed he could consolidate the entire EDM industry, but the problem was, it was expanding too rapidly. It was doing so on borrowed money and investor cash. They spent millions trying to centralize operations, streamline marketing, and cross-promote brands. But the reality was, these companies were just too culturally different to operate as a single unit. And the result, as soon as the company revealed massive quarterly losses and that SFX was burning millions and the returns weren't there, the stock tanked. By 2016, SFX had to file for bankruptcy, citing over $300 million in debt. And today, Insomniac and Live Nation dominate the US EDM scene, Superstruck dominates Europe, and Beatport is once again independent and community focused.